Shalom, family.
Shalom.
I know I don't want to go to hell because it's way hotter than what it is here, and I am suffering. I talked to, I was just telling Yazzie, I talked to Jeff, not Yazzie. Yeah, I talked to Jeff Day today in Seattle. He said it's 68 degrees. I wanted to hurt him.
Yeah, that's the.
He's like skipping, huh?
Yeah.
Like-
I was upset.
Yeah.
But then he told me how he used to live over there in the Middle East for 2 years and it got up to 140 degrees. I was like, that's not that.
Yeah.
I ain't even going outside. I quit my job.
They like, no, you have to work.
Not 140 degrees.
140 degrees.
Yeah, that's
Weight
late.
loss potential.
No.
We're going to be coming out of Isaiah chapter 20 this afternoon. Isaiah chapter 20. It is a short chapter. And this is going to be a short study. And I do need you all to be chiming in with your ideas because I found this particular chapter to be weird when I was reading it. So we're gonna read through it, and then we're gonna discuss it somewhat. So let's open with a word of prayer. How about that? Kanan, hook us up.
Hallelujah, God. Thank you for this opportunity to be in a place where people are like-minded and want to join to your Quran, study your script. We ask that you touch our teacher tonight to give him the understanding that we need, that we all chime into, and this is a fruitful scripture study on tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. When y'all talk loud, because I ain't got no mic, and y'all ain't got no mic, and people online need to hear your beautiful voices. No, I don't want the mic. That's what I want. All right, let's get with it. Isaiah chapter 20. Can I get a reader?
I got you.
All right.
What do you want to read to?
Read till I say stop.
That's right.
That's right.
Oh boy.
Isaiah 20. In the year that Tartan came into Ashdod, when Sargon the king of Assyria sent him and fought against Ashdod and took it, at the same time spake Yahuwah by Isaiah the son of Amoz, saying, Go and loose the sackcloth from off the lines, and put off thy shoe from thy foot. And he did so, walking naked and barefoot.
Stop. Not thy line, the lines, your loins.
Loins, yeah, that's my
Okay, you
apologies.
said lines.
That's a Midwestern.
Yeah, okay.
Twang.
I thought it was washing clothes.
Loins.
I thought it was hanging clothes on the line.
Midwest
Continue,
accent.
please.
And Yahuwah said, Like as my servant Isaiah have walked naked and barefoot 3 years, for a sign and a wonder upon Egypt and upon Ethiopia, so shall this king of Assyria lead away the Egyptian prisoners and Ethiopian captives, young and old, naked and barefoot, even with their buttocks uncovered, to the shame of Egypt. And they shall be afraid and ashamed of Ethiopia, their expectation, and of Egypt, their glory. And the inhabitants of these isles shall say in the day, Behold, such is our expectation, whether we flee from help to be delivered from the kings of Assyria, and how shall we escape?
All right. Thank you, sir. Now, everybody go back up to the top. In the year that Tartan is not somebody's name. Tartan is it's a title, like a general. Of
King.
he's not a king.
A general?
He's some kind of general.
He's an army?
But yeah, Ashad, when Sardan is the king that set Tartan.
Yeah, general, commander, a title used as Assyrian military,
There you go.
by the Assyrian military.
Syrian military.
So in that year, that Tartan came unto Ashdod, when Sargon, the king of Syria, sent him and fought against Ashdod and took it. That same time, so in that same year, spake Yahuwah by Yeshaiah, the son of Amoz, saying, Go and loose the sackcloth from off thy loins, and put off thy shoe from thy foot. And he did so, walking naked and barefoot. Now, I didn't really notice this until yesterday. Usually when somebody tell you take the shoe off your foot, we usually thinking it's 2 feet coming off, 2 shoes coming off. But here he says, take off the shoe from your foot.
Right.
So he took off 1 shoe, off of 1 foot. 3 years walking around with 1 shoe off of 1 foot. Now, we'll get into what the shoe off the foot thing mean in a minute. But he also told Yeshaiah to take the sackcloth from off his loins and then take the shoe off. So this fella, Yah's man, Yah's servant, his prophet, is walking around with his junk out and his trunk out for 3 years.
Exposed.
Exposed. So before we continue with that, let's discuss this shoe thing real quick. It says 1 shoe. So I had to try to figure out what this 1 shoe situation thing is. Somebody go find Exodus 3:5. Yazi, find Exodus chapter 3, verse 5.
Okay.
You got it?
Mhm.
Oh, read it.
And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off your shoe from off your feet, for the place wherein you stand is set apart ground.
Set apart ground. I need Acts 7:33. Don't read it yet. Leroy, you find that one. Chantel, you feeling well enough to read? Great. Deuteronomy 25, verse 5 through 10. Uncle Neville, if you could be so kind as to find Joshua chapter 5, verses 14 and 15. And Kanan Yahu, Ruth, chapter 4, verse 7. So I'm trying to figure out through this verse, I get an understanding of this whole the shoe situation. So I started looking up other verses that has to do with one shoe being removed. And can I get Acts? Read Acts for me.
Then said Yahuwah to him, Put off thy shoes from thy feet, for the place where thou standest is set apart ground.
Okay.
That's it.
There he
7:33.
said, put off thy shoes from your feet. So he's talking about both feet, both shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that Yah, in these 2 different statements, he know the difference between 1 shoe and 2 shoes, or 1 foot and 2 feet. Because it would be the tendency of most people to just assume he's taking off both shoes. Then you say somebody's walking around barefoot, we don't think one foot. We thinking both feet is bare. All right. Deuteronomy 25:10. 25 verse 5 through 10.
If brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no children, no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead. That is his name. Be not put out of Israel. And if the man like not to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders and say, my husband's brother refuseth to raise up his own brothers unto his brother and name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. The name, then the elders of his city shall call him and speak unto him. And if he stand to it and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoe from off his foot, and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto the man that will not build up his brother's house. And his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him that hath his shoes loose.
All right. So,
What was that?
He didn't want to build up his brother's house.
Deuteronomy.
yeah, that was Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 5 through 10. So, in Torah, if I'll use me and my wife as an example. If I was to die and me and Carol hadn't had a child, then one of my brothers was supposed to take her, and she's back there saying no because she don't want neither one of them Hebrews. They're supposed to take her and marry her and raise a child up in my name. This was according to Torah. But this fella, apparently, I don't know what was wrong.
All pleasure.
Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with her. Maybe she was ugly. Maybe, I don't know. But he was like, no, I don't want to marry you. I'm not going to do that. It ain't happening.
Could have had his
So-
own house going.
He was in violation of Torah because he did not do that. So she was to take him to before the elders, and she tells them what happened, and their response is they put a judgment on him, and so here she comes in and removes how many shoes? One shoe. And then what she do?
Spit in his
Spit.
face.
Spit in his face, and basically put a curse. I don't know. I don't want to say put a curse on him, but tagged him. It was a tag on him, and he was marked with the name. Basically said this fella shamed himself, shamed his brother, his dead brother, shamed me, and violated Torah. And this is going to be his name from now on. I don't know what the actual name was that they calling him, but whatever it is meant all of that. So everywhere he go, that's what people know him as.
The man that didn't want to build
Yeah.
up his family.
So in this particular instance, the removal of that shoe is doing two things. It's representing shame on him, and it's representing a testimony against him for what he did. And she spit in the brother's face. So,
Isn't his name actually the house of him that has his shoes?
yeah, that would be a long name.
No, but that's his name though.
That is his name. But my thing, in my thinking, it got to be a Hebrew word
Oh, word.
That's-
or a name that says all that.
His name is the house of him that has his shoe loosed.
So
We would say
What verse
bed,
is that?
bed, house of, and then,
I should have looked up all those words
House of
and
shoe
then
loose.
it made me a word.
but we see that as Hebrews all the time.
One
Here comes
foot.
that man. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, yeah.
Understand?
Here
Or,
comes-
or with Hebrews, like with your children, like what upsets you the most? When you see them walking around with their shoes untied.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
Or you see kids walking around and you be like, man, tie your shoe.
oh yeah. And don't wear your good shoes to
I ain't got that.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting that, you know, you see that as a curse. You know what I'm saying? It's a curse for our kid, but certain things that irritate us or makes us upset, you see
Like
some
things
context in that.
What was the other verse I needed? Joshua?
15.
Yahusha,
Yeah,
I got
go for it.
Yahusha 5:14 and 15. And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of Yahuwah am I now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship, and said unto him, What hath Yahuwah unto his servant? And the captain of Yahuwah host said unto Yahusha,
Where'd you put your other shoe?
Loose thy shoe from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Yahusha did so.
All right. This particular verse, we have another instance of one shoe being loose from the foot. And he speaks about this ground being holy or separated. Now, this guy fell down and worshiped the captain of Yahuwah's army. Not Yahuwah.
The tartan.
Huh?
He worshipped the
No,
tartan.
no, we ain't even at the
we're-
target
we're-
yet. This is a
we're
whole different,
Joshua.
this is a whole different verse. So basically, Yahweh sent, he sent the captain of his army, and this fella fell down at that guy's feet and worshiped. Now, worship is reserved for whom?
Only
Yahweh.
so he broke Torah.
He broke Torah, and I think this is why he had to take his shoe off, because this was a shame what he just did. Oh. You put it on. You can put it on low. I just talk loud because it's hot. We need some air.
Put it,
Air.
Park put it that way.
Yeah, stick it. Yeah, Karen, stick it in the corner over there. So that.
Neville just turned it on.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I didn't know Joe had turned it off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can feel it.
Israel, Uncle Neville had us in here cooking.
I did. Joe had it in your cooking.
Joe ain't here. I got to blame somebody else in the room.
Only 104 degrees.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, where was we at? Okay, anyway, so this would seem like another instance of shame. So we have two things so far being shown here with the shoe being taken off of one foot. We have it as a testimony, and we have it as showing of shame, or you could say a showing of a disciplinary action type situation.
Yes.
All right, Ruth 4 and 7.
In Joshua, those two, is that what you were saying? A showing of shame,
Yeah.
and then disciplinary.
Yes, because in Deuteronomy we had it as a testimony against the person, and then she spake no on the boy's face.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have Joshua bowing down to.
Isn't this also dysfunction?
Yeah, it would be dysfunctional if it's a violation of Torah.
Right. It's not functional.
It's not functional. So the dysfunction had to be corrected, and it was corrected by showing this guy that you just shamed yourself by bowing down to me.
Okay.
When you're supposed to only be bowing down to Yah.
All right. Got it.
All right. Ruth 4:7.
Back to that one. Now this was the manner in the former time of Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing. For to confirm all things, a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, And this was a testimony in Israel.
So, now we see that the taking off of one shoe, we saw it earlier as a testimony against somebody. But now we're seeing it as a testimony as far as, it would be like us shaking hands on an agreement. Now, I don't know if the guy gets to keep the shoe or not. Or if he just hand him the shoe, you say, hey, we in agreement, okay, give me my shoe back, and put my shoe on and go about my business. But it was a custom amongst our people to use that taking off of a shoe as a testimony or a handshake or an agreement on a particular thing. All right, now, I said all that, went through all that, so we can get some kind of idea of concept of what this whole taking off of the shoe thing is about. All right, let us continue on. Let's go to verse 3 of Isaiah chapter 20. And Yahuwah said, like as my servant Yeshaya hath walked naked and barefoot 3 years for a sign and a wonder against, or for a sign and a wonder upon Egypt and upon Ethiopia. So, naked and barefoot. The barefoot thing, again, sign. And it's a sign of shame. Walking around naked. I don't want to get ahead. Let me read a little bit before I don't want to get ahead of myself. Yahweh's purpose. Yah, for his own purpose and his own will, told Isaiah or Yeshaya to walk naked, expose his front and his back, and take one shoe off. Now, according to script, we know that walking around naked ain't something we supposed to be doing. It is a sign of shame. So, Yahuwah asked Yeshaya to do something that was in violation of Torah. Now, most of us, our minds automatically would be like, well, we ain't supposed to be doing that. And then you have other people that's outside of Torah be like, oh, see, that's what's wrong with your guy right now. He's schizophrenic. He said, don't walk around naked, but then he having this boy walk around naked. So we have to keep in our mind, first, Yahuwah is sovereign, do his laws, his rules. And we also have to keep in our mind, well, what was the purpose of it? Because anytime Yahuwah has asked one of us to do something that would seemingly be against Torah, there's a reason for it. He has a reason behind it. Rahab, she broke Torah when she lied to save those spies. There was a purpose for it. Yahuwah sent that vision to Peter, told him to rise up and eat. If he would have ate that would have been ate those unclean animals, it would have been a violation of Torah. But there was a whole purpose behind it. So our job is always to see what's the purpose, what is Yah doing? Because we know Yah is not going to have us breaking Torah if there's not a reason behind it. So let's figure out what the reason is.
Hey.
Being stripped of your clothing or taking your clothing off and walking around naked is a shame to you. It's a shame to some people more than it is to others. Because some people, you shouldn't want to see nobody naked except your spouse. But it's one thing to see somebody that got a nice setup going naked than to see somebody that's toe up. From the floor up. Voluptuous, rose, hairy, discolored skin, just whatever. Two different things. Both of them wrong to look at. One's gonna cause you to sin one way doesn't gonna cause you to sin the other way. You may start speaking bad about one person, or you might start speaking things about the other person that's good, but bad according to script. So the nakedness is a shame. None of us don't go out walking around naked in the street. If we do, more likely you just smoke something you ain't supposed to smoke. Yeah, indecent exposure. Something's wrong. Something's going on in your mind as you do that. Because it's not it's not right in society to be walking around the street but
You could be
naked.
at a festival.
You said you could be at a festival. You could be at a nudist colony or something. Now, but again, back to the shame. It is a shame. So no, being naked is not only a shame to y'all's people. This was a normal thing that was a shame to everybody, to most people. You got tribes now still over in the motherland that walk around with stuff exposed. The women walk around with their tops exposed. In that cultural setting, they don't consider that, they're not looking at that the way it'll be looked at here in America. It's just looked at as normal. Now when Adam and Eve and Choah made their aprons, I don't believe Adam made an apron for the front of his section, and
A tube top.
yeah, and Choah made an apron that covered her from here down. I don't believe that I think she made one for loins just like he did, and was still exposed at the top. Now, again, back to culture. Somebody walk out in the street here with their top exposed, different thing than if you over in another country in a tribal situation where that's the norm. People don't look at it that way. I remember, this is a little side thing, but I don't know how many of y'all remember Left Eye from TLC? She went over to some place and she was walking around butt naked, hanging out with these people because that's what they did in their tribe. And she was just being with the people. So we have to keep in our mind what shame is, when things are shameful. Because really, if it wasn't for Shawah screwing up in the garden, we'd all be sitting around this table butt naked right now. But
not the perspective you're using it, though, right?
But
they didn't know they were naked.
no, they didn't.
Yeah.
But if she, like I said, if she hadn't screwed up, we would all be sitting here naked right now, having a conversation
Without knowledge.
without knowledge.
See,
But even currently, the way that, like, when you see it done today, tribal, it's also the mindset behind being exposed for the women up top is function.
Mm-hmm.
They don't use it how,
Which used here.
right.
Yeah.
and
They
that's
don't
the,
got YouTube for porn.
well, that's the term we
Okay.
use in scripture, right? Sometimes we put our Western mindset into the script,
Right.
and the script is kind of like the Eastern mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like we viewing the words naked, you know, and our mind immediately goes to a Western mindset of how it's viewed. Compared to the perspective of the culture that you're presenting, it's a different perspective.
Yeah.
Hebrew.
Because here in America,
Yeah.
they put naked people up on the big screen all the time. And it's just accepted. But at this time, amongst our people, that's a thing that is just is shameful. So, where am I lost my train of thought. It's a shame for Yisrael to be walking around naked. Even pagan cultures were having issues with walking around naked was a shame. So, his nakedness here was meant to be a sign and a wonder projected against Egypt and Ethiopia. And the one shoe was projected as something against Egypt and Ethiopia. It was actually showing what was going to happen to them. Now, this guy's walking around for 3 years, butt naked, and one shoe, which is a really odd sight. People's going to ask him questions. Dude, why you walking around here with your junk and your trunk out? Yeah, aren't you cold? How you gonna come into the market and be picking up apples and stuff and you got yourself exposed? My kids walking around here pointing at mommy. Why is he like this? So questions getting asked. So every time somebody asks a question, that's what Yeshua gets to do. Explain to them why I'm walking around here with my junk and my trunk out. I'm doing it because y'all is pronouncing some trouble for Egypt and Ethiopia. So let us continue on down reading. 20:4. So shall the king man, my brain. Thank you. So shall the king of Assyria lead away the Egyptian prisoners and the Ethiopian captives, young and old, naked and barefoot, even their buttocks uncovered, to the shame of Egypt. So, when I first read that, it almost read to me like Egypt had prisoners and Ethiopia had prisoners that were going to get led away. So I had to keep reading it over, and I started to see that it's referencing Egypt as the prisoners, and it's referencing Ethiopia as the captives. It says they're young and they're old. Will be naked and barefoot, even their buttocks uncovered to their shame. Now, at first reading, I thought I was misreading the script, and as I could not, for the life of me, understand why y'all would have his men walk around naked for 3 years with his stuff out. But then I started to compare, I think it's verse 3? Yeah, verse 3 with verse 4. Verse 3 says, my servant Yeshua walked naked and barefoot 3 years for a sign and a wonder. Verse 4 says, the Egyptian prisoners and the Ethiopian captives, young and old, naked and barefoot. So here, young and old was added. So I had to start thinking again. What am I missing? What's missing out of verse 3 that is in 4? And there's nothing missing. When you read where it says barefoot 3 years, that is in reference to the young and old. Because in 3 years' time, you see a change in a person. If I started walking around naked now, I'm 47. In 3 years, I'd be 50. In 1 year's time, you may see some change in a person. But in 3 years' time, you're going to see change in people. 3 years show change in attitudes, change in physical attributes. Some of my hair might be grayer. It's going to show I was younger at this time when I started this walk, buck naked. And then when I got to the 3 years, something about me is different.
Yeah. Foot callus.
Foot calluses on one foot. One foot. So, and we see that among us. All of us in here, we used to be Christian. But in a process of time, our lives have changed completely. We dress different, we speak different, we act different, we do things different according to scripture. We're completely different people than what we were when we first started our walk in the Hebrew walk. So you would say at that time when you was a Christian and coming out of that you were immature or ignorant. You were young thinking. Now that you have had some learning under your belt, you're more mature, and your wisdom has increased. So what you see is a process of time. So when it says you're young, the young and old, you see the 3 years. Then it goes back to the naked and then the barefoot. And all of this goes back into the situation of shame. Now, let's move down to verse 5. And they shall be afraid and ashamed of Ethiopia, their expectation, and of Egypt, their glory. So Ethiopia is going to be ashamed of its expectations. It has a certain expectation of what's going on here. Egypt has a certain expectation. They're going to be ashamed of their glory. At one point, Egypt was off the hook. But now they're getting led out of their land. It's one thing to be led naked. Led out of your land as a slave. We've been there. Our people, our ancestors have been there. It's another thing to be led out but naked, with yourself exposed. And we've been there too. Because when they brought us over, we wasn't in those suits. And we was exposed. And it was a shame to us. Same things happening here to Egypt and to Ethiopia. So Ethiopia has an expectation. What was their expectation? If you are getting led out of a place because you've been conquered and you're a slave, what expectations would you be having going through your head? You're going to be expecting either the worst or you're going to be expecting for some help to come. So expecting the worst would not be ashamed. Here it says they were afraid and ashamed of their expectations. So you getting led away and captive, you already expecting the worst to happen. So obviously they was expecting something else. Maybe they was expecting some help to come. We Ethiopia, we got a bunch of people. Somebody might come and help us. We have some allies. Egypt, they had glory. They had the hookup, but they didn't went from having a hookup to being slaves and being led away as servants, butt naked and with one shoe. So then Scripture says, "Behold, such is our expectation, whether we flee for help to be delivered from the king of Assyria, and how shall we escape?" So their expectation, they're thinking, how the heck we getting out of this? We're not getting out of this. We're getting led away, and we're getting led away in the worst way. So this brought me to
Egypt never thought they would be slaves to anybody, and Ethiopia is a sign of refuge throughout Scripture. So those two nations would have never thought they were going to come out butt-ass naked out of their nation.
They got the worst of the situation. And Yahuwah already showed them that it was going to happen. Now, notice, normally when we get these prophecies coming from Yah, it's like a warning to the people, and you get this thing of repent and it'll be okay. We didn't even see that in this script. We just got Yeshaya walking around butt naked with his shoe off. People asking why you walking around like that, and he tell them, well, y'all finna allow Assyria to come up in here and take Egypt and Ethiopia out of here, and they finna get jacked. Wasn't no repentance set up for it. It was just, this is what's gonna happen. I'm the example to y'all about what's gonna happen. So, now, my question, we gonna, are we willing to allow Yahuwah to use us as a tool to warn the lost people? Are we willing to do that?
Yeah.
That should be.
We should be.
No, let's be honest, no. Because Hebrews is just as racist and just as prejudiced as the captive or the prisoner. So sometimes we as Hebrews don't even want to go to the next nation and say, Yahuwah loves you.
And we have an example of that in Jonah.
Come on now.
But for the most part, we would say, yeah, I'll be a tool, yes. I love Yah. Oh, yes. Now,
That's functional.
that's functional. That's being obedient to your master. Now, what if Yah said, Canaan, I want you to go and share the truth at your daughter's high school, but only don't wear no pants, no drawers, and leave one of your sneakers off. Whole different mindset comes in. Canaan looking at me like,
You gonna be an Exodus
I'm about to
recovery?
get arrested.
now,
I mean, the whole point, like, we just, like, I guess if you said that without us reading this, right,
mhm,
I'd be like, but like, you just read it, so in my mind, like, the whole point that Isaiah did it.
he did do it.
He did it.
He was obedient.
So the whole point of, like you saying, if Yah does that, well, if he says that, then I can't allow for what I think is supposed to happen to occur.
Mhm.
If I get arrested, then
Aaliyah.
if Yah gave me that, then I have to trust in what his plan was for me. I have to trust in that.
Yeah, or would y'all provide provision?
Whatever
Would he-
whatever the provision is going to be, I don't know what that provision is.
We have laws in place in the land of our oppressor that
And-
would not allow that to happen too long.
And that's the point I was going to make, because at this time, where Yeshua is doing this, obviously, that wasn't that big a deal.
Right. For 3 years.
Yeah, but if we did that now, we're going to jail, and we have to consider what Yahuwah told us we supposed to obey the laws of the land, as long as they not violating Torah.
Hmm.
So, my first thing, well, y'all probably ain't told me to do. Man, did he tell me to do this? Now I would have to actually hear an actual audible voice from Yah telling me to do that for me to do it, and then I'm gonna have to. He gonna have to prove to me that it's Yah.
You have to write it on the wall.
Yeah, you got to show me. I got to know for sure.
A hand just start writing on the
Yeah,
wall.
because you're asking a bit much, right?
But don't, I mean, just from the perspective of Isaiah, it probably was a bit much for him too also. So we see it was, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, but it was done.
It was done, yeah. And the thing is, and Yeshua knowing the customs of Israel with this whole shoe thing and being naked, knowing that represents shame, I'm pretty sure in his mind somewhere he was thinking, what's up with this? But he was obedient and did it anyway. So,
Can I get a script?
yeah.
Acts 4:18 and 19.
Acts 4:18 and 19.
4:18.
I could read more, but I mean, I'll leave that to you to read that. You got it?
Yeah.
And they called them and commanded them not to speak at all, nor teach in the name of Yahshua. But Peter and John answered and said unto them, whether it be right in the sight of Elohim to hearken unto you more than unto Elohim, judge ye.
Now you gotta decide. Am I gonna listen to y'all, or am I gonna listen to what man say? Now, like I said, and I just gotta be honest, I gotta hear an audible voice from Yah. I'm not just gonna be like read a script and think, oh, I can go out and witness naked, or I'm gonna go out and take my clothes. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hear something from Yah telling me to go ahead to do this, to be obedient and do it.
But that's what you said. If Yah told me, that's what you said.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
If Yah, in terms of the script that you just read, that's what you said. If Yah told you. So, I mean, I don't think Isaiah was working in any type of confusion of who was speaking to him.
Oh no, no, he knew for sure, but us,
Yes.
yeah, he was a prophet. I ain't no prophet.
This chapter 20.
Well, I'm not saying that you. I get what you say. I get what you say.
So he has spoke with Yah
Yeah.
previously because this is chapter 20.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
he's had Yah tell him to do things
Oh yeah.
prior to this that, confirmed him being a prophet. So what he's saying is he going to look at giving us the same assignment that he's going to give someone that's basically a prophet. See, so he knows us
Mhm.
as who we are.
Yeah, you right. I think he know not to ask me to do that.
You're right.
Okay, where am I at? Okay. So, are we willing to be used by Yah, even in situations where it would be uncomfortable for us? We have to be, we have to have the mindset of putting what our wants and our desires off to the side when it comes to Yah, when He's telling us to go do something, to do this, to do that. And things that would seemingly, like this situation with the nakedness, would seemingly be shameful, but when it comes to Yah, He wasn't using it as a situation of being shamed for Yeshaya. It was an example of shame for what's going to happen to Egypt and Ethiopia. So, again, we have examples of people violating Torah in order to keep Torah, like with Rahab, with Peter. The spirit of the law is the spirit of the law would, I hate to use the word override the letter of the law, but the whole purpose, huh? Right, yeah, Javdi says there's right and wrong and there's holiness. So, we have examples when Yahushua said, you've heard it said, an eye for an eye. And then he said, but I say. And you got all these examples of what I say. And it's not him getting rid of the law, it's him explaining the law to you better. It's how to keep this law, make this law functional. Because obviously people are doing stuff wrong.
Right, like Jazz said, the verse showing you the
Yeah.
right and wrong in it, and the holiness of it.
Now,
That's good, Jazz.
where am I at? Here we go.
Right.
I'm not saying to do something like sit down with a sinner
Get out of here.
and have a court dinner with them in order to sit and talk to them about scripture. Completely different thing. You don't, that's not something that you seeing that you endure or violate Torah in order to share Torah with somebody else. It's contradictory. It's dysfunctional. Life and death, different story. But that's not a life and death situation. So, there's going to be certain things in our life where, huh? Sitting down with well, I guess it could be sitting down with somebody and they say, well, I would like to hear more about this Torah you're telling me about. Come to my house, or let's go out to Porky Pig restaurant and sit down and eat. Yeah, Famous Dave or something. You sit down and have some baby back ribs or something with the person while you're discussing Torah. It's a violation. But and it makes it's hypocritical. Now, is it okay to violate Torah in a situation where you would actually be saving that person's life?
No, get that out of my
But then that's not violating Torah. It wouldn't be violating.
It wouldn't be
Torah if
violating.
It came to a matter of life.
When it comes to matter of life and death, it's not a violation of Torah. Now,
I don't disagree with that, because there were stories where it came down to life or death, and they did not.
oh, you're talking about
There's actually a couple of times. In other words, I don't think there's ever a time where y'all give us the okay to go against Torah.
Yeah.
And Torah and the dietary law, when y'all call something an abomination, matter of fact, it says that you is what the verse says there. I'm gonna lie and misquote. So let me see if I can get the verse.
It's about touching. Did you have that script?
Isaiah 20.
What script you talking about?
I don't know if
It's
that.
the one where it talks about how people that are eating, anybody that's eating unclean with the abomination, whatever is going to be consumed with everybody else.
Yeah.
Six.
When you shy. I mean, yeah.
There's a couple of times where that's it. But like there's differences between like food,
Isaiah
like
66:17.
being eaten,
But that's just
and like
them
something like
hiding
Rahab's
behind.
lie. There's differences.
You was just talking about
Like
that.
there's different examples of that. Like there's, for example, we're all commanded to learn the law, and there's no excuse for it. In other words, we can't say anything in excuse to not know.
Mhm.
But knowing the law doesn't really mean that. It's the next step to becoming an example of the law. What we see in that prophet, took his shoes off and ran out with his back out.
Mhm.
Right? So it's really a different, it's a different area. We're not talking about like, did this person know the law, or did the person like operate in Torah or not Torah? The end of it is, y'all told him to do this, and he did it. That trumps, period. Y'all's not gonna tell us to go eat pork, or to go, for someone to sing. If someone wanted to know y'all, then it would not put that in the
Right, there was no mercy towards sexual Please,
The result is
Our question is, are we willing to take the next step? Now that we are all people that we know what to do, now are we willing
Life and death, you
to
don't
be
need.
the picture giver? Because Yeshua himself
I
was
don't
the
think there
picture.
would ever be a
Yes,
situation.
he was.
See what I'm saying? He was the picture. See what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
wouldn't do that.
He was also told of his death.
But I'm saying this isn't true in that situation.
Oh no, maybe
Oh, that's a.
maybe I presented what I was saying wrong.
Yeah, right. So that's a different way.
My point was,
You eat that.
if you're doing something, if
Preserving the life, it's not good.
I'm trying to find the best way to.
Yeah, I think you made a good point. Well, let me tell you if I missed it, if I missed it, I didn't announce it, that's not your fault, that's mine. But your point was, are we in a place where if y'all tell us to do something, we'll just do it? Are we in that space willing?
Mhm.
Even if it seems to us that this is breaking Torah.
Seemingly, yeah.
Right.
Because sometimes stuff it'll seem like you're breaking Torah, but y'all already know the big picture and you know what you actually doing.
Right.
So, but
It's
the,
like,
the,
go on, go ahead.
the thing with that I was trying to say with the life and death, certain things like if somebody came, same thing with the thing with Rahab. If somebody came in here right now with a gun and said I was gonna blast half of the people in here, if you don't eat this pork sandwich. Now, what's gonna be more important to y'all? Y'all lives or this sandwich?
So what was that in the Maccabees? Didn't that happen in the Maccabees?
It did happen.
Yeah.
And translate.
And they so the focus on that is if you look at the book of Maccabees when they says life or death, they chose death. They
Yeah.
chose Torah over that and they fought. And Yah allowed them to overbound them.
But that particular situation, that was for them. Now, if somebody was asked me to do that to save y'all lives,
Nope.
to save my life, it's a whole different story. Because that's my life. I'll go ahead and shoot me. But to save y'all, it's a different story. Just like with Rahab.
But
Now, and we have different examples in scripture of it.
But
on
isn't the
both
fact
sides.
that Rahab's lie didn't violate Torah? Because it wasn't, the Torah never says you can't lie in the sense of what she did. She did it for saving a life. Huh?
Says you cannot bear false witness.
Right. But she didn't, what she said it for. Because this is more than once we've seen this happen. It wasn't just Rahab that's done something like this. But yet, what is her lineage after that? What did she get after that particular point? Isn't the Hamashiach under her lineage? So therefore, we're looking at that in terms of a wrong perspective, that was just the fact of a lie. Number one, she wasn't in Torah at the time when she did
I
it.
just said that today
Right.
to my husband.
She was not
That
in Hebrew.
moment she became into Torah.
Right, she only came into Torah after the fact. So we have to look at that perspective and keep that in the context of where she was at the time.
Yeah, at the same time.
Only thing I would say about that is that we have a hint that she may have been already researched, which is pretty much.
Oh, well, she had knowledge of who they were.
Because for her to cut that deal meant that she had to already been in the know. So being in the know excuses that as a way to say, well, she wasn't in Torah.
Being in the know.
Well, being in the know,
Well, she
there
would
are
bring
a
out
lot
the
of Christians
prostitute.
that are in the know, but they still decide not to. You know, there are a lot of Christians that, because she's in the know, but she still stayed where she was for the point until the opportunity came there. So she may have been in the know, but she was still in the area, because the Torah also says if you're in the know, get out. So she didn't know all, she just knew enough to go, you know what, I want to rock with you guys at the end of the point.
I guess that's the point.
But
I'm saying that,
that's the point.
that Rahab cannot make the excuse. In other words, she wouldn't be excused from her life based upon where she was in the steps.
Where she was.
In her walk.
Say it again.
Or she wouldn't have been excused from that. I was thinking.
And she would, she couldn't be excused because according to script, y'all say I only got one law for everybody. So everybody's up under that law, whether you know all of it or none of it.
So then that goes
It's
back
on
to
you.
who was he talking to? See, now we have to clarify. See, so he couldn't be talking to everybody at that particular time, because for everybody to know what his law is, they would have had to read it.
You
They would
had to say I do.
You had to follow it, and somebody would have had to teach it. But if you're in a particular area that you don't know, now to know that he's alive, yes, that's what now we're talking about Romans chapter 1. But to be aware of what his Torah is, no, there's no way that the whole entire planet knows what his Torah
No.
is. So for somebody to say, you know, they lie in the sense of saving a life for that particular reason, or we've seen time and time again it's happened, but it wasn't a violation in terms of, I understand, bearing false witness, but that was never shown as a violation at the particular time. Plus, in Torah, we can look at James. James says, you violate one, right? What is that? James chapter 2, verse 10. You violate one. So, yeah, if you eat swine for the point of a life, you have just violated Torah. It is Yah that will be the one that determines it, not you. Why are we making that decision? So if the person's going to put a gun to your head and says, eat this, they might as well shoot me. Because I'm not going to violate Torah based on that.
No, but then you taking it a little bit, I understand
No,
your
there's no
point.
buts.
It is a but
I'm gonna hard
because
but. There's
in
no
Hebrews,
buts.
in Hebrews 11, it says, by faith, the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believe, not when she had received the spies with peace.
Mhm.
So it's not even about the point of right and wrong, it's about the faith of your decision.
Right.
When he told, when Abram, was the Torah written when Abram was walking around?
Torah was written
But
in the
his
beginning.
faith was counted as righteousness because he believed what Yah said, you know, I'm gonna go up there and sacrifice Isaac, but I believe that he would raise Isaac again. And it
Right.
said his faith was counted as righteousness.
So wouldn't it be my
But so-
faith that if the person puts a gun to my head, my faith wouldn't allow me to eat swine. My faith wouldn't put swine in my mouth. My faith would be the fact that if the gun is gonna shoot off, it will not work, or somebody's gonna stop it in the time.
Man, it would not work, or you gonna get a hole through your
Or-
body,
or-
just like them boys was sitting in the fire in the
Right,
pit.
right, exactly. I'm gonna walk
And
into
then
the
burn
pit
up.
of fire by faith, and then hope, and then put my faith in Yah that that's not gonna work. By faith, that I will have an opportunity to stop the person with my own, with the power that Yah will give me with strength, like He did Samson, and be able to take him down. That would be my faith. But I would never go against it by putting swine in my mouth, because swine is not food. It breaks Torah.
Separation. If we want help from Yah, what we need not to do is separate ourselves.
Right, right. Now we're putting it in our own. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna die. I'm gonna just eat it. Now you're putting the faith in yourself. I'm gonna put it all into Yah, and then take that opportunity for Yah to either put the ruach in me, right, and give me strength, and then move forward. That's it.
But your decision making, what you're saying, well, our decision making is like, oh, I'm trying to save my life, then that's me and my thought. If you say I'm trying to save my life, I'm gonna go ahead and eat the pork.
That's
That's what.
No,
you're
no, but
saying.
I'm saying if somebody says I'm gonna eat the pork, they're
Uh-huh.
not putting their faith in Yah anymore.
Mhm.
They've removed the Yah out of the
Right.
scenario.
They thought they'd become the savior. of
Right, they
what's
thought they
going
could
on.
become the savior. The whole idea is let Yah go
Not
through.
the savior, but a
James
type of
chapter 2.
savior.
I think it's, yeah, so for whosoever shall guard the whole Torah and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. So therefore, there is no turning, is straightforward. Huh? That's James chapter 2, verse 10.
But
So then,
Two
in-
things.
even in that situation, you have to, it's like a situational base. You have to see that as in that text.
Yes.
Like when people like, well, Rahab lied.
I don't,
Then you say, did Rahab lie if they just honored her in the script?
He said, edify the body.
right, so people say that's a lie in the sense of what she did. So that's something that we're gonna have to dig out further, because what did she get honored for? What was her honoring? Hiding, preserving life.
Yeah.
She preserved life.
Uh-huh.
as a prostitute,
So
Now,
wouldn't you be preserving life?
but this is what's goes back to my point. Different if somebody come in, point a gun in my head, tell me eat the sandwich or I'm gonna kill you. I take the bullet. But if they take the gun, put it at my wife and my kid, tell me eat the pork sandwich or I'm gonna kill them, that's saving myself is a selfish act. Saving my family, completely different situation.
It's still only the pork. It doesn't work. And going back to Rahab, I'm going back to, she's not a Hebrew. She wouldn't have known that. She wouldn't have known that.
So
She wouldn't
what
have
would be
known
the
to.
point of putting her then in the script there?
She
In
saved
Hebrews.
their lives outside
because
of.
she became, that's a picture of companionship.
Yeah, she had
So
companionship
but it
regardless.
was an honorable thing with her act.
The honoring thing with her act was that she saved their life.
She said, who lives?
She saved the lives of the spies. That's the honorable part, because she could have said, "What?" So what, if she said they're up there, does anything happen to her? No, she would have probably been rewarded.
So put the same situation in what he's saying.
It doesn't fit. You're putting a non-Hebrew in a Hebrew situation. Yeah, it doesn't fit. Now put a situation back to what
It don't fit?
it doesn't fit. It can't.
Okay.
You can't use it in that scenario with Rahab.
So the person that put it in Hebrews 11, are they wrong for putting that in
No,
Hebrews
but
11?
what did they say? Read it again.
By faith,
By faith,
Rahab,
Rahab,
the harlot Rahab,
Rahab.
perished not. So what? So what?
What was her faith in what the promise that they gave her?
So what was the promise that they gave her?
That they were gonna destroy the land and this was
And then take her family out of there. That was the faith.
I'm asking you to put that into that.
This, but you can't put. But she wasn't.
He's saying exactly.
She wasn't
okay,
following
so
Torah.
we'll switch this. So my wife is not in Torah.
Right.
So if the God came to her and said, "You eat this pork, or I'm going to kill your husband," it's justified for her to do it.
She's gonna eat it. She never made a vow.
She
She never
never-
made a vow to y'all.
She's not
She's gonna
following
eat it with
Torah.
no. She's gonna eat it
But
with no doubt.
what does it say that Rahab, previous to meeting the spies, was following Torah?
It doesn't say she
It
was
doesn't,
following
that's
Torah.
the whole point.
That's a clear point. She was not a Hebrew. Number one. She was not. She
Her
was not
spirit
in.
was just
She was
operating
in that
in the
area.
area.
Her operation was in the location. Now, so let's go back to this. The act of Torah. Would she be in that area where she was if she was following Torah? The answer is no. She would be with the Ivri Israel. She would have gotten her family out there a long time ago. If she was following Torah.
We'll discuss this later because I'm
Yeah.
not getting what you're talking about.
Where would she have been if she was actually following Torah? Would she have been in that land?
We're not talking about if, we talk about what she was.
Right, which means
But
she
she was a
wasn't.
prostitute. She was Rahab the prostitute.
And she was a prostitute.
Not under Torah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
She
my
was a
wife
companion.
is not a Torah. She's a companion. So what's the difference?
She's a prostitute.
So if my wife's not a prostitute, that means that it's different.
Yes.
Like
Yes. Number one, she's a prostitute.
now,
She's an adult.
Heard what was gonna happen, believed what was gonna happen, and
Right.
then acted on
Right.
Right. So she said, "I'd rather live with
so
Israel
listen
than
to the
die
same
with my
situation
culture."
that he's.
But
listen to what he's
but you're
saying.
making a hard situation from a wife to a prostitute. You're having a
No,
woman that
I'm
has.
not making it from a wife to a prostitute. I'm using the scenario.
Okay, so let's put the scenario in a bigger
And
perspective.
listen to the scenario that he said.
Right.
Go back to the scenario that he said.
Y'all would have to. You will not eat the swine because you would break James chapter 2 verse 10.
So if he wasn't a Hebrew, then he wouldn't be violated.
But we're not talking about non-Hebrew. We're talking about.
You just said that about
Rahab
Rahab.
is not.
But Rahab was an adulteress based on the fact that.
Okay.
So you can't
Let's keep it
put that
moving,
into
man.
two scenarios.
Nah,
You're trying to say.
Nah,
So then
I
they're
know
fine.
exactly what
Put the
I'm saying.
Hamashiach in the same situation. You want to switch it around?
To do what?
He's not
I'm
going to
basing it
violate.
off what you said.
But he
You said
can't-
she was not in
can't
Torah. That's what
violate.
you said. She, Rahab,
She's not.
was not in Torah.
No, is it what I
So-
said or is it what scripture
That's
said?
what you just said.
She's a prostitute.
Okay.
Is
Of
that
a whole
Torah?
different culture.
But
Of a whole different
regardless of what
nation.
you're
Yeah.
doing, you either in Torah or not in Torah.
Yeah, there's no middle ground.
So no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So he's trying to prove a point that he's
Man, you
trying
know what
to,
I'm saying, man. It's not difficult.
Am I missing it? You only have one way to go. There's no lukewarm way.
I'm
No.
just basing it on what you said. You said she was not in Torah, so it's like, was that justified then, what she did?
I'm not putting the perspective of the justification of a non-Hebrew. So you're saying the justification
No, I'm saying what you said.
in terms of what exactly?
You said that Rahab wasn't following Torah. I keep
Right.
going to this point.
Okay. she
No,
wasn't.
not that she was not devoted. Like it wasn't Rahab, the Israelite woman,
Right.
who understood. No, it was Rahab of I don't know what's a different culture. She was a different culture, a different nation, a different everything.
Okay, so I'm
her faith
telling you,
was
if
in
my
sacrificing
wife
her.
is not in the same faith in what I'm doing,
and she eats it, she's gonna eat it with no problem.
to
and
save
then-
my life.
Right, and then, Yah willing, she will perform an act of Rahab and say, okay, now I'm going to follow Torah.
So it's all based upon people that's not under Torah that they're able to carry these acts out, what you're telling me.
No, I didn't say that.
I'm
I don't know how you fit your.
Huh?
We have to address this.
Yeah, because you're talking about eating swine now.
I'm not talking about eating swine.
But whether it's eating swine or doing something else, it's going against
Torah. Yeah.
That's
so-
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, but that's the part I'm missing. So, gun to the head, swine in the face. Not gonna eat the swine. Right?
We'll pick it up. We'll pick it up later.
Am I missing it?
It's a
Okay. I got one.
It's a
Understood.
good conversation.
I mean, but
I'm based off
I'm
of the
missing-
situation, so I'm just basing off what Teshua said. That's all
Now,
I'm
look,
saying.
we are gonna come, at some point, come across situations like that. When they start jacking us, we're gonna have to make life and death situations.
am I gonna take the chip, or they say chip, or what, this mark on the hand or the forehead? Or am I gonna eat? Is my family gonna eat? Now, together, me and the family, we're gonna decide, we ain't taking no mark.
Because y'all all in Torah, right?
Yeah. But, now,
So if
I see
somebody
what you're saying
were to
now.
try to take, if somebody were to try to take a mark to try to help everybody, no, they're still going to hell.
yeah.
Yes.
So now make the mark the pig sample, the gun. So, do I eat the sandwich? Do I take the mark to save my family? No.
No.
So, no. Y'all dead.
Maybe.
Maybe.
That's all up to y'all.
Yeah, that's
and
up to
that,
y'all.
that's a clear
But-
point.
and-
that
and then we have to
With
think.
a very carnal mind, thinking that, death here is death. Because when we die in that way, it's honor. So in that case, please kill us because we get in a better.
I mean, look at the Talmudians. When they were getting beaten up, they were feeling honored that it put that
Yes.
particular point for Yah.
That's
There's a verse
understandable.
that actually says, when you getting, beat down, persecuted,
Not at all joy.
that counted as joy.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you see the message when they come from this thing? Somebody just said, put something up there. Yeah. I didn't get a chance to read it.
Oh, you know what?
Alright, but we also have to go back to the verse because Isaiah was walking around naked and shameful for pronouncing judgment on Egypt, who we know had us in bondage. So now I'm gonna show what Yah's gonna do to you. So he's pronouncing judgment, and then like I said, Ethiopia, because I believe we asked Ethiopia one time for help or something, and they like didn't or something. It was something. I have to go back on history with Ethiopia, but we have history with Ethiopia as well. So it's just their time
Oh, man, that's a
of
whole
what
bunch of
judgment
people. Sorry.
of what judgment is
My
coming.
brain was up here thinking, I was like, it's probably people got all kind of questions or
On what judgment
statements,
was coming.
clear
you know.
everything up.
So I'm not sure if it was a complete, he had to walk around, that was him dishonoring for the sake of this is what your judgment looks like, So I'm not sure. But for us to say he was,
I didn't realize there was so many people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. Man.
Told everybody,
I hope y'all ain't out there throwing mental stones at me.
oh,
If I deserve them, I deserve them.
when it comes to choosing between whose punishment will be more severe, man's judgment or to die is to gain. Thanks, V. Miller.
Yeah.
Is that V. Miller?
It's cool. They chill with each other all the time. They think-
Susanna
they think
was
we go at
falsely
each other.
accused. Okay. Have to finish.
What do they say?
Let me finish this up and then we
Susanna,
can
something
continue
about Susanna
discussing
and,
this.
anybody remember Susanna?
Ethiopia, their expectations. When they were being led out, they had it didn't say what their expectations were, but we can assume from if we were in the same spot, what our expectations would be. And basically, they were ashamed of their expectations because obviously they thought that they were going to get out of the situation some kind of way, but they couldn't. So their expectations were shamed, and they were afraid of their expectations. So maybe they expected their numbers to protect them, some other kind of power. Maybe they expected their wealth to protect them. And we see that with people. We see that with people all the time. They expect their money.
we
and their
gave
power.
Ethiopia a baby. That's why Ethiopia is like, what?
We expect people expect their money and power to protect them from stuff.
Very true.
Egypt, they had their glory. They got they were ashamed, even though they had glory. They end up getting led out in chains. So with us, with Israel, we have to be able to put ourselves, our mindset, in a situation where we escape our expectations. Because oftentimes we expect stuff. We expect things from each other. When we should expect each other to follow Torah, but we know we mess up. Scripture tells us not to trust no man. You can't even trust yourself. Expect yourself to mess up. So when it comes to our expectations, the only thing that we can expect to go right is Yah's will. So we have to escape our expectations of everything, our expectations of each other. Because how mad do you get when you expect somebody to tell you they're going to do something, but then they don't do it? Then you get upset when your brain should have been already in the place where he said he's going to do it, but I ain't going to hold him to that because, hey, he ain't Yah. So he might mess up. Our expectations when in regards to Yahuwah always have to line up with his will. They have to line up with Torah.
Right.
If we're expecting certain things and the things that we're expecting don't line up with Torah, we're going to be ashamed and afraid or disappointed in the outcome. So our job as Hebrews, we have to know Torah so that we can know Yah's mind, we can know his heart, so we can function properly, so we can be told working his will and following Torah. And in doing so, it'll benefit you when you don't keep expectations on your brothers and sisters, and it'll benefit the body as well. Now we should always look at our brother and sister and hope that they would do or function according to Torah. But we already know that we all mess up at some point. We shouldn't get so bent out of shape that we're not willing to forgive and forget when somebody does something that's outside of Torah, if it offends us or if it offends the body. That's why y'all have it set up where we can come together and we discuss it, whatever the problem is, and we work it out. So our expectations in that situation would line up with what Scripture says. We are supposed to talk to our brother or sister and fix whatever that problem is. And if it ain't working out, we get somebody else. Y'all expects us to get somebody else, work the situation out. If it still don't work out with those witnesses, you bring it before the body and you try to work the situation out. And you work it out through Torah. Somebody is going to be everybody's going to be pulling up scripts, trying to work out the situation and figure out what's wrong. Now, unfortunately, we got people in our Hebrew walk that act like, some of them still act like they in the Christian walk, because in Christianity, people will say one thing and do the other.
Right.
Real quick, like. I done been in church and somebody will be praising Yah and then in the next breath, mad at somebody else and cussing somebody out inside the fellowship. And it don't jive. According to Torah, you ain't supposed to be functioning like that. That is not going to bring shalom to the body. It's not going to bring balance. It's not going to bring peace. And that's what Yah is about. He's about us having balance. He's about us having peace. And he's about us following his Torah. So, let's escape our expectations of other people. The only person we should be having somebody expectations of is Yah. And the only good way or true way to expect something of Yah is to know his will. If you don't know his will, your expectations of him are going to be that'll be your will. That's what you want. So let's keep ourselves lined up with Torah. All right. Comment? No?
Torah ZYOTTA for your statements.
Everybody online, thank you for listening. And again, none of us are perfect. We all got our little areas where we missed the mark, but we are supposed to be pressing toward that mark and trying to be better and trying to follow Torah. And it's easier to follow it when you follow it and trying to follow it with another group of believers. When you're trying to do it by yourself, it's tough, real tough. When you got that support system,
Hallelujah.
it's a whole different shebang.
Hallelujah.
So, thank you all for being with us. Let's pray and we'll close out. Yahuwah Eloheinu, Total Rabbah for the fellowship tonight. Total Rabbah for your word, for understanding, for all of the brothers and sisters that had input, for the messages sent, and all the ideas shared. Our job is to be workmen of iron, and iron sharpening iron. We are supposed to help each other to understand Torah. It's never supposed to be a battle amongst us when we're studying script. It's always supposed to be an edifying situation. And we thank you for all of our brothers and sisters out there in YouTube land, our brothers and sisters within the building, those who are praying for us, with those who we're praying for. We ask that you would bless our Moray and his wife and their family as they are away out doing your work. We pray that you would use them in a mighty way according to your will. We thank you, we love you, we look forward to your return. Until that great day, we just ask you to help us occupy this place and do your will. In Yeshua's name, amen.
Amen. Daniela just says hi.
Okay.
So y'all gonna fight now?
Alright.